Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm going to hand over to our product manager, Itai Gal, who is going to take us through the new notification center for our cloud products. Over to you, Itai.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Sarah. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited for this webinar. There's a really nice capability I'm going to talk about today. This session is going to be about the new notification settings area that we are now developing for the SaaS platform. And just a quick disclaimer before we begin, this presentation should not be considered as a commitment to deliver on any specific timelines and shouldn't be considered as any sales pitch or within a buying decision of our products. Just a few words on the agenda. So there's a quick problem definition, what we're actually solving with this new feature. 5 minutes, motivation, why we are doing this, just talking about the scope and the objectives real quick. And the main focus of this would be the short demo that we will be doing on the prototype that we already have in our staging environment. I will show you the works and everything you can do with this new capability and what you will be able to do in the future. And finally, I'm just going to talk about the rollout plan when this is expected to start showing up on your accounts. And then we can have a session of Q&A if there is anything you would like to ask. But for, just as Sarah said, for the presentation itself, we won't be taking any questions. And in the end, we'll have time for that. So please either write it on the chat or just keep your question and we'll answer anything. All right, so I'll just go ahead and start. So I want to define the problem that we're solving with this new capability because this is important to understand our approach. One of the biggest problems with SaaS products that are catering to security for organizations is visibility, because this is the most important aspect of a security product. You want to have full visibility on all of your assets at all times. And most importantly, this visibility will allow you to make sure that all of them are available and that there is nothing that's happening right now that needs your immediate attention to make sure your operations are working as expected. And one of the aspects within visibility is notifications. Notifications are just alerts that help us maintain our assets and keep our security portfolio as it should be, and then maintain if we need to. And this is something that's just general for SaaS products and for security and for cybersecurity in general. Now, the problem that we recognize that we're having with our platform today, with our SaaS platform, is that there is some alert fatigue. Since we are sending all of the notifications today from our platform, and too many notifications, yes, there is about 80 different types of notifications that we are communicating out of the platform today to our customers. And there is only 1 or 2 areas where you can manage where those notifications will be distributed to. So there's either you put a group of email addresses or just one email addresses. And if you're just using the defaults, everything goes to the admin email. So if everyone on the team or just one member of the team that's managing the Imperva platform is receiving all of those notifications, it necessarily doesn't mean that not all of those notifications are meant for them or for the role they take within the organization and how the organization maintains its security. So a lot of those alerts are not relevant, and thus it's causing alert fatigue. You're receiving a lot of alerts that don't require immediate action. And it's quite the clutter on your mailbox. So in terms of poor visibility, so like I said before, it's an all or nothing situation. So you either receive all of your notifications to one certain email address, or all of the notifications are sent to all of the users in the platform. This way or another, it's not really practical and it's not really efficient. And finally, it creates a lot of disorder within the teams. It creates procrastinations of tasks because if I am the person, just as an example, if I'm the person that is in charge of managing certificates for websites within the organization, I'm also receiving WAF alerts for cross-site scripting. I'm also receiving website DDoS alerts. And I'm also receiving just general account notifications like subscriptions notifications, trial notifications, all of that jazz. And this means that I would probably not go to my mailbox every time Imperva sends a notification. And that would be bad because if I did have an alert for a certificate that's about to expire, I would need to act on it immediately. And that's what I mean by disorder and clutter. So moving forward, I want to talk about these features because it mostly caters to larger organizations that are using Imperva. Because smaller organizations, if we're protecting one website, it's usually only one user managing the platform, so they're going to get all of the notifications anyway. But for larger organizations, and we are mostly enterprise ready, and we want to cater enterprise as a business strategy, we know that they have tens to hundreds of users that are signed on the platform at the same time because there are multiple teams that are managing the platform at the same time. So if there are network teams and application security teams, well, the NOC teams are always observing the traffic. So you can have a lot of teams managing different areas within the platform and different products. So we looked at those type of customers, those types of accounts, and we noticed that they are receiving hundreds to thousands of different notifications per month. So with this feature, we're mostly going to cater to those larger customer accounts where they truly need to manage the distribution of their notifications based on team function or area of responsibility. With this slide, I would cue the first poll, please, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just get this going. Okay. So how many users do you have on your Imperva account? So we've got 1, 2 to 5, 6 to 10, or 11 plus.
Yeah, I just want to catch a feeling of which type of viewers are seeing this webinar and if this is going to cater specifically to their accounts and needs. Yeah, I see we have almost only accounts with multiple users. Perfect.
Okay, I'm going to just, so that all the people here can see it as well. So yeah, all of the audience members should be able to see that poll now.
Yeah. Itai?
Yes.
Would it be worthwhile to ask our guests if they could just poke a number in the chat? You know, is the number 50? Is it 40? Is it 60? I'm wondering how high that number goes.
Yes, if you are willing to share that, that would be appreciated. But the main answer that we received from this call is that this webinar is relevant for everyone on the call, since everyone's managing more than one user on their account. So I'm happy to hear that. So we will be catering to all of you in the future. Okay, so I will close this poll and I will continue with the presentation. Now I want to cover the goals, why we went into this initiative, why we started developing this new notification settings area. So first of all, we wanted service operations. Up until now, we were sending all of our communications from one single area where we managed the platform itself, but we wanted to separate the notification service to a separate hub, which will act like a post office that is in charge of distribution and notification policy management. It's not really something that will be customer facing, but just so you would know, it's more efficient and would allow us to easily add more integrations, more distribution channels in the future, and connect more easily from notifications coming out of the different products that you can manage within your portfolio on the platform. Like I mentioned before, we want to improve the experience for larger organizations. Our main goal is to cater to enterprise customers and to be enterprise ready. We know that you have different playbooks of how you are managing security platforms, and you have different teams or different personas in your org that have ownership over different aspects of security. And we want to make sure that you can operate the same way as your playbooks are going at the moment. Another thing, we realized that a lot of accounts that are on the Imperva management platform, they have sub-accounts. It's an easier way to distribute roles and permissions, and it's an easier way to organize your account in a better way that it will be granularly distributed by functions or by areas. So we want to also make sure we're catering to accounts that have multiple sub-accounts and multiple levels of asset groups. And then finally, the goal is to also granularly optimize communications. We want to make sure that you will have the ability to manage each notification that we send out, how you want to receive it, who is going to receive it, and through which channel. And you know what, even whether you want to receive it or not, up until now, you didn't have that option to choose for many of our notifications, which you might not feel were absolutely crucial for you to be receiving. So let's talk about the solution real quick, and then we can move to the demo. So like I said, a single hub, we separated the microservice that can act as a postal office, which will be more efficient, more reliable, and will be in charge of managing your notification policies. The second thing, and here I want to emphasize a little bit and show you a peek at the design before I go to the prototype. We made sure that the design is intuitive. Since we are managing so many notifications, like I mentioned before, more than 80 different types of notifications, it's really hard to manage them all granularly. So if I just gave you a list of 80 different notifications to manage, your head will probably explode and you would give up on that very fast. Instead, we went on a different approach. We aggregated groups of notifications based on functions and areas. So, for example, notifications like WAF alerts and notifications on breached WAF rules that you set on your platform, they will all be aggregated into one notification group called real-time WAF alerts. So in that way, you won't have to select a policy for each one of those notifications that are relevant for this function in this area. You can just select a policy for for the whole function of real-time WAF alerts, and all of those notifications will follow the same policy. So in this way, you will only have about 10 subgroups of notifications instead of 80 different notifications. And like I said, we're adding more and more notifications to that list as we move forward. So that would even matter more as we move further ahead with adding more notifications. So yeah, like I said, this is a quick peek before we move to the actual demo. Like you see, this is this area that you're seeing right now is under account management. We will add a new screen here called notification settings, which will aggregate all of the notification managements from all of the products in your SaaS portfolio. We have specific columns to define very unique parameters to each notification policy. As you can see, the tiles on the screen, each of the tile represents a parent group of notifications, and every subtype represents a different group of notifications that are in that area, the parent group area. To simplify it a little bit more, so if we're looking about network security, so this is a product, this is a whole area in our system that we that we configure, that we manage under the Edge tab over here. You might be familiar with it if you are subscribed to some of our network security products. If not, it doesn't matter. We also have more categories. I just want to use that as an example. But as you can see, the subtypes of notification groups under network security are flow-based monitoring type of notifications, connectivity types of notifications, network DDoS, network configuration change notifications. This is actually not the final titles. I think the prototypes has them, so we'll see those in a minute. And finally, the actual policy management. So we wanted to create a builder that is very intuitive and very easy to use. For you to create new policy, just as you're creating a new ACL policy, we want it to be that easy to create a notification group policy. And the policy basically means I want you to set a rule for a certain type of notifications, which assets are going to trigger those notifications, who are the recipients that are going to receive those notifications, and through which distribution channel they're going to receive those notifications. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I show the demo. But here's how the builder screen looks like. So as you can see, for each new notifications, you will choose all of those parameters: unique identifier, parent group, subgroup of notifications. So which type of notifications do you want to create a policy over? What are the distribution channel and who are the recipients? And finally, which assets you would like this notification policy to be applied on? More on that coming up. So yeah, I guess I'll move to the short demo. Actually, before the demo, I think we should cue the second poll.
Yep, let me get that for you. Okay, poll 2. Okay. So what type of notifications distribution are you more interested in managing? So certificate management, WAF alerts, application DDoS, network DDoS, or other? Go.
Lots of comments. Nice.
Okay, I will end the poll in a few minutes. I'll just let people, or a few seconds, I should say. Okay, we're about halfway there. Okay, and done. Okay, share the results. There we go. So everyone can see the results now, Itai.
So there's a close tie on certificate management and WAF alert management. That's great because those are the things that we put an emphasis on through this development. So I'm happy to see those are, a lot of people are interested in those. What I would like to know though, those of you that chose other, maybe you'd like to include that in the chat, just so we know what you might be interested in, and we can examine that further if we haven't already included that.
Super.
And I will just reshare my screen to show the demo. All right. Can you see my screen, Sarah?
Yep, all good.
Okay, so as you can probably see, this is our staging environment, and I'm just using one of the demo accounts we're using for multiple tests, so you shouldn't pay much attention to any weird things that you might see on the screen. But I really just wanted to show you how this works while using the prototype, even though it's not fully completed. Because I really want you to get the feeling of how intuitive this new area would be. So as I said earlier, as you can see right now, I'm under account management, and I chose notification settings from the navigation menu on the left, and then it will take me to this area. And as I mentioned earlier, we split this screen by tiles that represent, each tile represents a parent category of notifications. So one of the parent groups here would be account and website type of notifications. And the second group would be application security events. Another group would be network security notifications. And we will add more categories as we move along. This is just a prototype for the demo, so there's only 2 parent groups of notifications because I want to show you how it works. So under this parent group, you can see that we have multiple columns. So the first column, by the way, each row, as I mentioned earlier, each row represents a notification policy, which is a set of rules you would like to apply on a group of notifications. So the group of notifications will be mentioned under subtype. This is an internal title. It might be group or notifications group or subgroup, I don't know. But each of those, it doesn't have to be unique because you can apply multiple policies on the same types of notification groups, as long as you either choose different recipients or different assets that this policy would be applied on. I'll show you more of that in a second. The first column is the name. So this is the unique identifier. So once you have a lot of notification policies, if you have a very large account, we want to make it as easier as possible to find the policy that you created and understand what that policy means. So when we migrate you to this notification settings area at first, all you will see is default notification policies for the groups of notifications that already exist. And why is that? Because we don't want to change everything. We want to make sure that even when we migrate you to the new area, your notification distribution will operate the same as it does right now. We don't want suddenly that one of your users will stop receiving notifications just because we added this new capability. However, you will be able to go into the notification settings area and reconfigure all of those default notifications to the way you like. But I just wanted to mention that because we will call each one of the notification policy default and then the name of the group of notification it represents. But when you create a new notification policy, you might consider using an identifier that's easier for you to recognize and search for, like e-commerce websites in the EMEA region, for example. This is for the identifier. We will soon have a search bar here that you will be able also to search instead of just going through all of the different notification policies. You will be able to search for any one of the parameters that represent a notification policy, don't worry. So even if a user that doesn't have access to this asks you, the admin of the account, to opt out of these notifications, you can just search for the user and see which notification policies are defined on that user. So it's going to be easy in that way. So subtype column, like I mentioned, this is where you will see which notification group is applied on with this policy. Channel is the distribution channel. So right now we are distributing notifications only by email. Unless you have our mobile app, then you can also receive some of the notifications by push. But we will first be rolling out this feature only with the email distribution channel. But we intend to add more and more channels that are easier for you as we move along. So, for example, if your team is managing notifications through Slack, you will be able to create a dedicated Slack channel that that expired certificate notifications will appear there, as well as email. There's multiple options. I just wanted to mention that. The recipients is going to list how many people are receiving those notifications based on this policy. So, for example, if this is the default for account notifications, so any type of notification that is within the account notifications group is going to be sent to 3 people at the same time. Websites, so this is where you define which websites you would like to receive those notifications about. Since account notifications aren't website specific, this column is not going to contain anything for this specific policy, but for e-commerce website in EMEA and site notifications, you can choose which sites you would like to receive site notifications on. And then finally, status. This is an opt-in and opt-out situation. If you don't want to receive site notifications at all, just close that, okay? Now, I would like to move forward and show you how to create a new notification policy, because what if you want to also send site notifications for, let's say, the content website or streaming website that you have in the US to the person that manages the streaming website in the US, which is separate from the people who are managing e-commerce websites in EMEA. So it's as easy as that. You just click add new, adding a new notification policy. General, you just type in the name. What is the unique identifier that you would like to use for this notification? So I'm going to use, let's say streaming websites US. Okay, so I'm going to create a notification that is policy that is going to be related to the site notifications group. So all of the site notifications, I'm just going to choose account and website because site notifications are under this parent category of account and website. And so I'm going to choose site notifications. And I'm going to choose from the title I chose to put in the identifier. You can see that I'm going to choose the site notifications for the US streaming websites within the websites that I manage under this account. And I'm going to want to send it to the recipient that is the one who's managing those websites. So I'm just going to choose email as a distribution channel. I'm going to choose that person out of the recipients list. So let's say Itai Iluz is the person from my account who's managing the US streaming websites. He will be getting all site notifications for those websites. And then finally, I have to choose the actual site. So I'm just going to choose like one of those lists. So let's just say it was those 3 websites out of my account. Those were the streaming websites in the US. So as you can see, what I've defined here right now, I've defined the websites, which websites I would like to get site notifications over. And if you're asking yourself, what notifications are contained within the site notifications group, which I bet you are, we will be releasing an easy documentation accessible in a link from this text that you will be able to just check out and see what actual notifications under those 80 plus notifications I mentioned are aggregated under the group of site notifications or certificate management notifications, for example. Okay, and then finally, there's this checkbox. So if you're adding new sites to the account, you might not want to go to the notification settings screen and then manually add this new site to all of the notification policies that are relevant for it. Instead, you can just check enable notification on newly added websites. This means that every new site that you add to your account will automatically be added to this list, and Itai Iluz will be receiving the site notifications for it. Okay, and then finally click save, and that's it. The notification, as you can see, the notification policy has been added to this list under account and website category, and you have this new policy that you can just either edit, opt out if you want, or change as well, or you can create as many site notification policies as you would like for different assets, different websites, or different recipients. Same goes for all of the different notifications. Yeah, I guess that's it. It's supposed to be really intuitive, really quick to learn. And if you have any questions right now, I'm hoping you will save them until after we finish, and I will be happy to answer everything, but that's it for the demo. So let me go back to the presentation. Where's my handle? Okay. All right. Well, the next thing I want to talk about is the rollout plan. So this is how we will be rolling out this feature. So this is the answer to the question, when will I finally have this really, really cool capability? So the MVP we are going to release at the end of this month. Unfortunately, most of our customers will not be participating in the MVP. It's just going to be released to a group of selected beta customers and accounts that have started the free self-service trial that we are now offering for the AppSec products. You can check that in our website. And we will be starting the MVP beta and getting some feedback, making sure that when you receive this feature, it will work perfectly as expected and even more intuitive than it is at the moment. In the end of the third quarter is when we plan to release it to all of our customer accounts, not including reseller accounts though. So if you are our partner and you're selling Imperva products to customers yourself, you will only be able to enjoy this feature in a later phase. But for all other customers, if you have a private account, you will be seeing this between August to the end of September. We will be doing gradual rollouts based on plans, just to make sure we're maintaining reliability and stability within the feature, and that we're always acting on the feedback and improving it as we go. We will also be releasing an API. So if you're an API user, you have automation integrated with Imperva, it's okay. We also got you covered, and we will be releasing a very easy to use API to create and manage those notifications. Now, by the end of this year, we will be releasing for partners and resellers. What also we will be releasing by the end of this year that's not available during the first phase is management of sub-accounts from that sub-account. So what that means is, you know what, I'll talk about that in the next slide, which I'm going to talk about what's next. And then finally, throughout phase 2 and possibly at the beginning of next year, we will be adding more and more distribution channels. So right now, we're thinking of webhooks because you can do whatever you want with webhooks. We're thinking of PagerDuty, Slack, and we'll talk about that soon because I think that's one of the most popular questions. Yeah, so what's next? So yeah, like I started to talk about earlier, the parent control. So if you are managing sub-accounts, you might not want to go into each sub-account and configure their notification policies because the notification policies are per account. If you have a sub-account, it will not copy automatically the same notification policies that you applied on the assets that you are managing in the parent account. Same goes for different sub-accounts. So if I have 2 sub-accounts, I would not like the same policies to be automatically applied for the second sub-accounts, especially since there are completely different assets that I manage under those 2 sub-accounts. So each sub-account is going to be, each account will have their own notification settings center that you will be able to manage and create policies for. However, during the second phase, and by the end of this year, we will also be releasing a single pane of glass to manage sub-account notifications. So that would mean that from the parent account, instead of choosing assets, which I showed you earlier, is how you create a notification policy. Finally, you choose the assets where you want this notification to apply on, you will be able to choose sub-accounts instead of assets. So in that way, you will be able to create a notification policy and then say, I want this notification policy to apply to this and this sub-accounts. So all of the WAF alerts, for example, that are going to be triggered on both of my sub-accounts, I want them to be distributed through Slack and to the person that I have either external to the company or a user that I have on the parent account that is going to manage and receive all of those notifications. Now, additional channels, like I said, we will be adding more distribution channels to ease up on your current playbooks. We want to match your playbook. We want to make sure that the same way you are handling and managing roles within your org right now, and the way that they are using our platform and getting notified on other platforms, because we know you're using other platforms. We want to make it easier for you to consolidate notifications into a single pane of glass yourself. So that's why we'll be adding additional distribution channels. And finally, and this is one of the most exciting things that we'll be working on, is a notifications panel. Same as you have the notifications tab on Facebook or on Slack or on Outlook, we will be adding a notifications panel to the platform. This is where we will be able to both audit, both log all of the actions that you've made, all of the notifications that have been sent. So if someone says, I haven't received any notifications, you can actually go to the panel and see if that notification has been sent or not. But it also would let us do some more exciting things like alert you on alerts that you need to act upon. So for example, if a certificate needs to be renewed, if a data center is down, we want it to be prominent once you enter the account. We want to make sure that you see first thing that you enter your account, and that you have to take care of those and those issues. And the last thing is this is going to allow us to also communicate improvements, release notes, sorry, and new features to all of our customers. We can just use the notification panel to include a new report that we just released or a new product that you should check out, and there's a free trial on and things like that. I think, yeah, I think that's it. There's just another poll I would like to do before we head over to the Q&A. So I should have done that after the demo, but I think it's still fresh in our memories. So
yeah,
it is good.
We can launch that now. Okay, so did you find the functionality described in the demo intuitive? So we've got unintuitive, slightly intuitive, somewhat intuitive, intuitive, and very intuitive. I'm liking the answers so far, Itai. We'll share them shortly. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to end it there. And I'll share the results for everyone.
All right, great. So yeah, so most of you found that intuitive, which is great. This is just what we wanted to happen. Some of you even found that very intuitive, which is even better. So I'm really happy at those results. That one person that chose slightly intuitive, we will keep working on it. We'll make it much more intuitive as we move along. And by the time that you have it in your account, which like I said, is going to be around Q3, it will even be a lot more intuitive than it is right now. I think we can move to the questions, Sarah.
Yeah, we have lots of great questions, Itai, so we'll just get started. First one I have here is, can we get notifications per website? If so, can we set the notification for application owners directly?
Yeah, absolutely. That's. I'm sorry if that was not clear, but that's exactly what I was trying to explain earlier. Each notification policy is set on a one or more assets. So you can decide that this website, I want to set a notification policy on that website. Now you have to choose what type of notification. So are you interested in site notifications on that website, WAF alerts on that website, or certificate management alerts on that website? Once you choose which type of alerts you want to have on that website or that group of websites, then you can choose the recipient and the distribution channel. So yeah, the answer is yes.
Super. Just a note, we're getting some questions about sharing a recording of this. There will be a recording of this session shared on community, so don't worry, you won't have missed it. So will we be able to have better notification options for situations when Encapsula detects an origin server unreachable, for example, error code 20?
So right now this is not a notification that we have. The notification center settings area, it's mostly to cater to the current notifications that we have today. So this is something that I know is already been discussed in our WAF group, product group. By the way, it's Imperva WAF, encapsulates the old branding. So I would encourage you to either look if there's already a feature request for that in our user voice feature requests portal. Or you can just send me a mail after that, and I will make sure that our PM for the CloudWAF group is aware and responds.
Okay, super. Can you send notifications to a SIEM?
Honestly, this is not currently one of our planned integrations. We prioritize things that we know customers have been requesting for a long time, which are mostly PagerDuty, webhooks, Slack, ServiceNow, notifications directly to the SIEM. I'm not sure. However, we'll have to consider that. However, what we will be introducing is webhooks by the end of the year. So if you have a webhook, you can just create a function that will divert it to your SIEM easily. And if you'll need help with that, we have support and professional services that will be happy to share with you. So we got you covered in that sense, anyways.
Awesome. So is there any integration to send WAF security events to Splunk?
So that's basically the same question. So.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Does the email recipient have to be a portal user? When will the functionality be available? Oh, you've answered that last part. So it's just, does the email recipient have to be a portal user?
Well, that's a great question. The answer is no. We will allow you, once you choose the recipients, as you might have noticed in the demo earlier, once I clicked on the recipient field, I had a drop-down menu, which I could choose all of the users from the account. However, if you don't use that drop-down menu and just type in an external email address, that will also count. We know that people want that from the customers we've been speaking to. What we've been getting a lot is that my CEO is interested to know when our websites are being DDoSed, for example. So things like that. And yeah, we will cater for that as well. You don't have to be a user to be included in a notification policy.
Okay, thanks, Itai. And what are the planned distribution channels to be added in later phases?
I think we covered that already.
Oh, that's covered. Apologies. And then regarding certificate management, I think this is more of some feedback rather than a question. Regarding certificate management, I'd ask that it not be limited to custom expiring certificates. We've experienced some pain with Encapsula SAN certificates and how those domains have been managed. So I think that's more of a note rather than a question there.
So yeah, actually, I think right now the certificate management group is going to cover, I think, only the Imperva managed certificates, expiration and notifications, and all other type of management certification management notifications. I'm just going to read that again to make sure I haven't missed anything. Yeah, so it's not going to be limited to that for sure.
Okay, great. So, and the last one sorry, there's a couple more actually, but this one I'm interested in because it suggests that maybe there's room for another webinar type. But we wanting to know about the roadmap for the reporting modules, reporting module enhancement. They're not currently working on the current one, so they'd really love to they'd like to have a similar level as the Secure Sphere or on-prem gateway. And they said if any webinar was planned for that or timelines would be great.
So I'm happy to let you know that this is something that is in the plan. The team has already started working on reports engine and capabilities. This project, this initiative is led by another one of our product managers, Allegra. And she will be doing a webinar on that as soon as there is some development and defined timelines. I'm not sure there is a defined timeline right now, but I know that this is planned and we're working on it at the moment. And during the next year or so, you will see huge improvement in the ability to report and to customize your reports the way you want them.
Thanks, Itai. Another one, would existing customers need to do any migration by themselves for moving to the new notification settings?
So absolutely not. We will migrate all of your the default notifications just as they are. But as I mentioned in the demo, they will all be organized in the different groups. So if all of the notifications today are going to 1 or 2 people under your account, or even 100 people, you will just see once you have the notifications, rows of notification policies, and each row of notification policy is going to be defined for a single group of notification, and each one of those policies are going to be distributed to the same people who are receiving all of the notifications today. So in that matter of sense, you will not have to change anything. But on top of that, you can go into the notification settings screen, reconfigure, create new policies, or manage it however you would like it. And it will be really easy for you because we already migrated the settings that you have at the moment.
Super. I think this is our final question, unless anyone wants, while I'm asking this one, if you want to pop another question into the chat, please do so. Which subscription plans will include notification settings capabilities?
So it's going to be included in all of the plans. I mentioned that there's going to be a gradual rollout, so not everyone's going to be receiving it at the same time. However, this is free of charge. We offer this to all of our customers and accounts. This is an improvement we want to provide for all of the plans.
Perfect. Thanks again, Itai. Thanks everyone else for joining. We look forward to seeing you at the next event. So do keep an eye for what's coming up in the future.